Good afternoon, dear friend Safadi, dear Minister, dear Commissioner. The Association Council is one of the many occasions on which we are meeting and talking with Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ayman Safadi. You were in Brussels only less than 2 months ago. We have a lot of interactions and meetings, and this reflects the intensity and quality of the relations between Jordan and the European Union. It happens in a very difficult context. And Jordan is an indispensable partner for us, for the European Union, and a pillar of regional stability. It's important that this partnership continues improving every day in a continuous process of relationship, reaching out, cooperations, and that's why we have to start the preparation of enhancing this partnership and to bring it to the level of comprehensive and strategic partnership between the European Union and Jordan. On doing that, we are only recognizing the importance of our strong relationship and the important role of Jordan in the region. Advancing in this direction will allow us to further increase our cooperation in key areas which are strategic, which are security, defense, trade, investment, energy, digital, helping Jordan to fully unlock trade and investment potential. In today's meeting, we discussed our bilateral cooperation and confirmed the common willingness to further enhance it, as I said, in strategic domains like security, political, apart from the economic and trade areas. I reiterated the European Union commitment to continue supporting the implementation of Jordan's triple modernization process, in which you are engaged: political, economic, and public administration reforms. We also exchange on democratic principles and fundamental freedoms and human rights, which constitute one of the pillars of our partnership. And here a particular emphasis lies on the importance to preserve freedom of expression and appreciate the work of a civil society. A vibrant civil society is one of the bases of this modernization process. In a further expression of our support for these democratic principles and electoral reforms, I am happy to announce that we are sending an electoral observation mission for the September parliamentary elections. You know that for us, our electoral observation missions are the jewel of the crown. This is the most appreciated tool of our foreign policy. We do a lot of them. We have a strong experience on electoral observation, and we are very happy to contribute with this mission to the holding of these parliamentarian elections. In the area on security and counter-terrorism, we are also actively supporting Jordan through various programs, as well as providing assistance to Jordanian armed forces from the European Peace Facility, helping securing Jordanian borders, and further assistance of this kind will be worked on. Then we go to the wider regional issues, the most important one, pressing one, close to you, geographically, and close to us from a political and humanitarian point of view is Gaza. And I want to express my utter dismay over the unbearable climbing human cost and wide-scale destruction caused in Gaza by this conflict. The scope of the tragedy for the civilian population in Gaza is breaking all limits we knew so far, and also the fact that the Israeli hostages have still not been released. The massive bombing with heavy death toll in Maghazi refugee camp on Saturday. It's unbearable, unacceptable. The bombing yesterday of United Nations run school used as a shelter. It is the 5th in 1 week. The constant rise of the number of civilian casualties, as I said, is unbearable and underlines the urgency of establishing a ceasefire and working to find a durable solution. For that, we continue working with you, with other Arab partners, help to end this conflict and to find a way to a sustainable peace and security for all Israelis and Palestinians. And I have to commend you, my dear Minister, the Jordan tireless effort for peace, for stability, your humanitarian efforts, your cooperation in bringing aid to Gaza, for instance, to the Jordan corridor, transporting hubs in Hamas, Amman, and Aqaba. By the way, this is a good occasion to reject and condemn the repeated attacks by the extremist settlers on these Jordanian humanitarian convoys. And today, we have adopted further sanctions against these violent settlers, including the organization that called for attacking the Jordanian convoys. On UNRWA, we agreed that it is critical to preserve UNRWA's irreplaceable role through the region, certainly including Jordan. We reject any attempt to label UNRWA a terrorist organization. How can be a United Nations agency considered a terrorist organization? And we will continue, along with other international donors, in supporting and funding UNRWA. A special point in our discussion was the situation on Syria and Syrian refugees. And we value and appreciate Jordan for hosting such a high number of Syrian refugees for how long? For more than a decade now, more than 1.6 million people. This is for you a heavy financial burden. We will continue assisting you on carrying aid. We discussed how to make progress towards a political solution in Syria, in line with United Nations Security Council resolutions, and therefore allowing Syrian refugees to return to their homes. That's what they want, that's what they should, that's what we also want to happen. Unhappily, the conditions for many of them are not yet there, and this is primarily the responsibility of the Assad regime. And to conclude, allow me to be a little bit more personal. This is my last Association Council with you. Not the last of the European Union, but my last Association Council with Jordan. And our last official bilateral meeting as High Representative here in Brussels with Minister Safadi. I stopped counting how many times we met, bilaterally, in international fora, on chairing the Union for the Mediterranean. We have been the co-chair, and we will still be the co-chair of this meeting, I hope, next October. My dear Ayman, I appreciated a lot your wisdom, your openness, and your friendship, and your strong will to look for peace. You personally and your country. You were indispensable to reinforce the already very strong ties between Jordan and the European Union. And I am happy I could work with you on this for almost 5 years. I started working with you when I was Minister of Foreign Affairs of Spain, my country. And I am happy that for almost 5 years we have been building a lot among us, among the European Union and Jordan, and working together for the peace in the Middle East. You have been a valuable colleague, a great friend in very difficult times, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Prime Minister. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, dear friend, dear Josep, dear Oliver. And let me start by thanking you for convening the 15th Association Council, an extremely important event in our strong partnership. It's been 22 years since we entered into this association, and there have been 22 years marked with trust, cooperation, and good work, not only to advance European Jordanian relations, but also to contribute to our overall objective of bringing about peace, stability, and security to our troubled region. So I thank you so much for that. Today, as His Excellency said, we had a very successful Association Council. You summed up, dear Josep, many of the issues we talked about, so I'll not repeat those details again. I will just say it was a successful council in which we again announced our joint intention to alleviate our partnership to strategic level, and negotiations to achieve that will commence immediately, because we have been strategic partners in terms of the way we work together and sharing our commitments and our values, but this is just taking officially the relationship to another level that would allow for more strategic cooperation, whether in economy, trade, development, defense, and security as well. So we look forward to working with you to achieve that objective. Today, again, we discussed European support for Jordan, something for which we're grateful. His Majesty was here in November, and it was a very successful visit, during which not only was the strength of the partnership reiterated, but also the EU announced over 900 million euros of soft loans and grants to support Jordan's economy and economic development. Today we went over the progress that have been made in that direction, and again we thank the EU for its support. Jordan remains fully committed to our reform programs, whether political, economic, or admin. We do so because we believe this is the right thing to do for Jordan. It is in our own interest to achieve those reforms and make sure that we build for a future in which our economy will be more resilient and more independent, and therefore our commitment is unwavering, and we're continuing with steps to realize those programs in accordance with the timelines and the benchmarks that we agreed. That said, unfortunately, Jordan has always been at the receiving end of regional crises, and our economy is being hurt by the terrible security conditions in the region, and that has had a major impact on us, and therefore we look forward to working together more with the EU to mitigate the impact of regional crisis in Jordan, so that we can continue to move ahead with our economic reforms, which have been successful. We've had 6 rounds and a new program with the IMF that speaks to the strength of our reforms and to the strength of our commitment to do so. The same thing applies for our political reform program. We've had a new election law that is geared towards encouraging political parties to participate in the elections and eventually form governments based on party representations in parliament. We're again committed to moving forward with those reforms. New elections will take place in September under a new election law that would allow for better representation of political parties, women and youth, and that's something consistent with His Majesty's vision of making sure that we have more participation in our decision-making through ensuring representations for, again, program-based political parties, women and youth. And we're committed to supporting civil society. We do recognize the important role the civil society plays in Jordan, and we have always tried to create conditions conducive for that civil society to play its role as a partner for us in government in our effort to advance the interest of our country. And the same commitment goes to freedom of expression, and we never say that we're perfect, but we are fully committed to ensuring that freedom of expression is available in Jordan, is there in Jordan, consistent with the law, and that is what every country do. We remain committed to that, and we'll continue to make whatever reforms that are necessary to advance that environment of free speech and democratic values. And I think Jordan's record speaks for itself. We are a country that has a very clear record in terms of our respect for human rights, and our country being a country of moderation, of peace, and advancement of all democratic and humanitarian values with which you and us have been committed to for a long period, and will continue to be committed to. Our discussion today again provided an opportunity for us, my colleague, the Minister of Planning, to put our colleagues and picture of not only the challenges that our economy is facing, but also the achievements that we've made, focusing on key sectors like water, energy, digital economy, green economy, connectivity and transport and other sectors. And again, we look forward to work with our European partners to implement some of the key projects that we have, like the National Conveyance Project and other key economic projects. My friend, you touched on the issue of Syrian refugees, and that's an area that I believe we need to address very openly and very clearly. The answer to the refugees' problem is their return to their country. That is where all our efforts should be focused, to creating conditions conducive for the voluntary return of Syrians to their country. That is the real answer to their problem, and that's why we cannot continue to double down on positions that did not work, nor can we in Jordan accept the status quo politics approach that we've seen for years. We've got to create conditions that will take us towards an end to this crisis, and therefore allow for conditions that would allow for refugees to go back. Meanwhile, as long as refugees in Jordan, we as host country cannot burden the cost of caring for them alone. We're grateful for the EU and our European partners for the tremendous support that they've given us over the years to help us provide the dignified lives that we had provided for Syrian refugees. But the truth is that support is dwindling. Less and less commitment by donors is being translated into actual support to our economy. Last year, the support to our response plan stood at 29%. This year, we're in July, and the support did not exceed 6%. That means the burden of refugees is shifting towards us, and that's something we will not be able to handle. We will not be able to fill the gap that will be created by donors and UN organizations caring with refugees not doing what they need to do. Our policy in Jordan is clear. We do everything we can to provide a dignified life to refugees, but we never lose sight of the fact that they must go back to their country. That is the policy on which we work. Now, in the meanwhile, we provided whatever we could to enable a dignified life for them. 155,000 Syrian kids study in our schools. We've given over 400,000 work permits to Syrians at a time when unemployment in Jordan is over 23%. 200 schools in Jordan work in 2 shifts in order to accommodate Syrian students. But as I said to my colleagues, if donor community does not continue to support the opening of those 200 extra schools, and if they do not shoulder their responsibility, those schools would close. And if they do not provide electricity to the camps, we will not be able to do so. This is a shared responsibility. Donors must do their role, must do their job, and we have been doing our job, and we'll continue to do everything we can to help our Syrian brethren, but the reality is we cannot do it alone, and any decline in support to refugees in Jordan will reflect on our ability to provide them with the dignified lives that they deserve. So we're going to continue to work with our partners to make sure that we create conditions that are conducive for the voluntary return of refugees to Syria. Josep, you spoke very clearly about the catastrophe that we continue to see unfold on Gaza. That is a catastrophe that changed the whole world. This aggression must end, and must end now. Violation of international law must end. War crimes must end. The only way Palestinians and Israelis and the whole region will have peace is if we implement the 2-state solution that will allow for the emergence of an independent, sovereign Palestinian state on June 4, 1967, aligns with occupied Jerusalem as capital, to live in peace and security with Israel. That is the only way we're going to guarantee security for everybody. But meanwhile, our focus must be immediately on ending this war, on ending the humanitarian catastrophe, on lifting the siege, on ensuring that international law applies equally to all nations and to all conflicts, and specifically to Gaza. So we thank you for your very clear position on that. And in Jordan, you'll always have a partner for peace. that will be on the side of international law, on the side of the UN Charter, on the side of the right of the Palestinian people to live in freedom and dignity, and on the side of all countries of the region to live with security and peace. That is what our focus must be. But the reality is this war has gone on for far too long, has claimed far too many lives, has caused far too much destruction, and has questioned to very dangerous extent the credibility of international law. So we must all work together to end this catastrophe, save children from dying from malnutrition and hunger, and put us on a path towards implementing the two-state solution as the only path to a future of peace and security for all on the region. I want again, I will save my goodbye, Josep, to a later occasion. I know we will meet again and in the future before you end this term of service. But again, I want to thank you for your friendship. I want to thank you for your partnership. I want to thank you for standing on the side of justice and on the side of peace, and on the side of all right of all people to live with dignity. You've been a true friend for Jordan, and you've been a partner for peace and a partner for stability. So thank you. And again, Oliver, my dear friend, this will not be also the last time that we meet. I'm sure we have a lot of work to do before your term ends. But again, I want to thank you for your support for Jordan. I want to thank you for the good years during which we worked together to advance Jordanian European relations, to advance our partnership, to work together to address common challenges, but also to create opportunities and to create a future of peace, stability, and security for our region. And when I mean our region, when I say our region, I mean our bigger region, because Europe and the Middle East are one neighborhood. We're in it together. Whatever happens in our region and in the Middle East affects Europe and vice versa. So we're in it together, and in Jordan you'll always have a partner on whom you can count for doing the right thing, for working for peace, for working for justice. So thank you so much. Thank you both.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Prime Minister. Mr. Commissioner, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Well, I think what you have heard only confirms the significance of our enduring bond that we have between Jordan and the European Union. And I think I speak on both of us' behalf when I say that we very much appreciate the unwavering cooperation during these times that we're all going through. And this has been instrumental in our shared efforts. And this should also be the testament to the strength of our partnership, but also our commitment to long-term peace, security, stability, and may I add, prosperity of the wider region. Today's Association Council has been an occasion for the EU to reconfirm its strong commitment to continue to support Jordan with the substantial assistance in line with its triple reform and modernization plans. We are conscious of the very specific Jordanian political, economic, and social challenges. And it was for that reason that we have made a proposal to the Council and the European Parliament for 500 million euros of macrofinancial assistance. We touched on that as well, and we are now waiting for the Council and the European Parliament to proceed with this macrofinancial assistance as a matter of priority. Furthermore, we also touched upon the follow-up to the 8th Syrian Refugee Conference, late May, where we have reaffirmed our commitment to continue to support Jordan in its effort in hosting Syrian refugee communities, and also to address the socio-economic repercussions of this. And we also pledged the same level of financial commitment. The EU has been delivering and will continue to deliver this financial assistance to Jordan. And we are also working on, as the High Representative, but also the Deputy Prime Minister has pointed out, we are working on developing a more structured approach to support safe, voluntary and dignified returns of Syrians in cooperation with the UNHCR back to Syria. This is something that we have all committed to work on, and we will take this forward rapidly. This year, we have also inaugurated a new important strand of our cooperation with Jordan, and that is the first EU-Jordan Business Forum, which just took place in June in Amman. And this was already a success because it has showed the potential in increasing the economic ties, but also should serve as a vehicle for private investments flowing into Jordan from the EU. Because with this, we want to promote together the green and digital industries, a new economy emerging in Jordan, and also increase the trade opportunities, both for Jordanian and for companies from the European Union. The other major instrument that we have in place, which was a novelty at the beginning of this mandate, but by now I think it has proven its value, is the Economic and Investment Plan. Through the Economic and Investment Plan, which we have designed together in partnership with Jordan, we have mobilized already 4.5 billion euros of investments flowing directly into the economy of Jordan, focusing on the most important sectors like water management or a new program for energy efficiency and promoting biogas production. In this context, I'm very proud to recall the support we are providing for the Aqaba Amman water desalination conveyor, and hope that this initiative will succeed even before the end of our term, so that we can see this kicking into action, because I'm sure that this investment alone will have a major transformation power, not only in terms of the economy, but also in terms of the livelihoods of the people of Jordan. And in conclusion, I just want to echo that we have always considered Jordan to be a stabilizing force in the region. Therefore, it is extremely important for us in the European Union that we politically and economically meet this quality of partnership Jordan means for the European Union. And this is why I think that we need to start to think of how to increase our cooperation, and this is something that we have also touched upon. So I also want to thank Deputy Prime Minister Safadi, Ayman, if you allow me, because we have been working very closely in the last 5 years, and I have learned a lot from you when it comes to the region. I also learned from you directly the key challenges, not only Jordan faces, but the general picture of the whole region. And I think I also want to thank you for standing up always clearly your grounds, but also having a very deep understanding of our challenges. And this is why I think instruments like the Economic and Investment Plan was a success. This is why I think we could be now much more relevant than before, because we are targeting the areas where Europe can contribute even more to long-term stability, security, and prosperity of Jordan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So now space for your questions. Hatim, you can have the first one. Wait for the mic.
Thank you, Peter. Hatim Sakir from Al Ain, Arab Emirates. As was said, and we know that Jordan is very good partner for European Union, as very closer partner, not like the other partners. How we can profit from this geographic situation and political situation in Jordan to put the pressure to do more on Gaza, and to at least to have a solution for eliminate all the aids for Gaza and for all the issue in general, how we can profit from Jordan as a good partner and geographic near to both Palestinian and Israeli and European Union. Thank you.
Is this question to me?
It will be better if we have three approach. Maybe I would be, you know, but if it is different approach, it will be good.
The Commission and myself will present the same approach, I'm sure. No? Maybe the Jordanian Foreign Affairs Minister has a different one, but I doubt it. I doubt it. So allow me to start saying that, yes, Jordan is a pillar of stability and one of the most important partners for the European Union in the region. And Jordan has done a lot in order to get peace in Gaza. Jordan has been committed. The most important commitment comes from you. When you came to the Foreign Affairs Council, your voice was very important, very clear on sending the message that international law has to be respected, that hostages have to be freed, but civilians in Gaza have to be respected also. And we have been working very hard and very closely with Jordan in order to look for a common approach from the Arab world and the European Union in order to look for a solution. Unhappily, not all our efforts has been successful, but I wish that everybody could engage on looking for a peace in the Middle East as much as Jordan is doing, and providing so much engagement, providing support to the humanitarian support to the people in Gaza. This Jordanian corridor is a good example of that. And I am sorry that your tracks has been attacked by bioreceptors, and I told today there is a decision to target some of them. So Jordan has not a magic wand, but it has a strong will, and has been using this will in order to do the best. And that's why we are very happy to increase our partnership and our working together with Jordan. I'm sure the Commissioner is a good has a good knowledge of how this partnership has been growing along the time and will continue growing, enhancing its strategic and comprehensive partnership.
Please, go ahead.
Well, I think almost everything has been said. If you look back where we started in 2019 and where we are now in terms of cooperation, you see that we have unraveled a whole new way of contributing. Because if there is one thing that we have tried to pursue across the board, not only in relation to our relationship with Jordan, but also everywhere in the neighborhood, be it the Balkans, the East or the South, is that resilience is very much dependent on the existence of strong economies and strong societies. And for this, the most important precondition is to create growth and jobs locally. But you cannot create growth and jobs locally unless you know what are the main challenges in front of them, and unless you are in full sync and partnership with them. And it means that this is how the EU could become relevant in these regions. And I think the Economic and Investment Plan has shown it. And I take it as a blueprint. And when you talk about future evolution or deepening or widening or both of our relationship, I think this is the very basic idea that needs further development and that needs to be filled with content. We started with the COVID, hard times for everybody. I remember very well how hard it was for Jordan, but we've flipped it around. And now we have the war in Gaza, which creates immense challenge also for Jordan. And we will also flip that around because I think that we have an understanding and we have a commitment on both sides.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to add more to what my dear colleagues have said in terms of describing the nature of the partnership that Jordan and the EU has. It's a solid partnership based on common principles, common values, and seeking to achieve the same thing in terms of economic development, better lives for our peoples, and also peace and stability in the region. So we're solid. We've done a lot of solid work, and our cooperation has yielded a lot of tangibles for our relationship in a very meaningful way. On the aggression on Gaza, I think Jordan has done everything it possibly could, and it will continue to do everything it possibly can to bring to this war to an end, to end the suffering of the Palestinian people in Gaza, to stop measures that undermine the prospects for peace on the West Bank, to prevent this aggression from expanding into other parts of the region, particularly Lebanon, and to start working with our partners to implement a timeline plan to implement the two-state solution as the only path to peace and security for all. His Majesty has been unequivocal and has been tireless since day number one, and even before October 7, to highlight the danger inherent in the continuation of the absence of horizons for the resolution of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Only a few days before October 7 at the UN General Assembly, His Majesty was very clear in warning that unless we end the root cause of conflict, unless we end occupation and achieve the two-state solution whereby a Palestinian free, independent, sovereign state would live side by side Israel in peace and security, the region will sink into the abyss of violence. Sadly, tragically, this is what's happened. We've been in the abyss of war and aggression that has destroyed almost all of Gaza. So our effort has not stopped. It will continue to stop. We're using every possible avenue we have to bring this aggression to an end. Not only that, also to end the humanitarian catastrophe, but to move beyond that into a future of peace whose path is the realization of Palestinian people's right to freedom and statehood, and so that they can live in peace and security with Israel. Jordan has always been a force for peace. It will continue to be a force for peace, but Jordan has always been a credible and true and honest in what it says, and our honest message to the world is that unless this aggression ends now, unless this humanitarian catastrophe ends, and unless we solve the Palestinian-Israeli conflict on the basis of the two-state solution, our region will be just waiting for the next catastrophe to happen. That has been the history, that will be the future. And we've worked very closely with our partners in the EU many times, and we've made it clear that this has to end, and that there can be no way in which double standards in applying international law can be justified. There can be none. And the impact of this war goes beyond the catastrophic suffering that's been imposed on the Palestinian people. It goes to undermine decades of work to normalize the idea of peace. We lost generations, and to win them back, we have to have a transformative action, and the only transformative action that can really change the dynamic is to implement the two-state solution so that the Palestinians can live with dignity and freedom in their state on June 4, 1967 lines, with East Jerusalem as capital, side by side Israel that is secure and accepted and have normal ties with the region. That is what Jordan has done, and that's what Jordan will continue to do. But Jordan alone, I have to say, cannot do it. You can only ask of Jordan what it can do. But it is on the whole world to be able to realize the objective that Jordan has been working for, not just on Jordan. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? If not, then thank you very much. Shukran lakum wa ila liqa. Have a nice afternoon.